What
up, everybody? Welcome back to Henshin Gate. We're the YouTubers with attitude. I'm Jared.
Ryan here.
Mike here.
As this is our 2-year anniversary, and we're celebrating it with the one and only Zordon of Eltar, David J. Fielding.
Woo!
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Just before we begin this video, you already know what to do. Be sure to give it a like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified when we post more videos. Subscribe to David's, all of David's links in the description, follow all of our social media and Twitch.
Basically, love us.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right, you got the questions?
All right, let's do this. Okay.
Yeah. How did you end up with the role of Zordon?
Through a friend, actually. I went to undergrad at Southwest Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas.
Wow.
And made a bunch of friends that when they left undergrad, they moved out to California. I went to the University of Pittsburgh to get my Master of Fine Arts in Acting.
Nice.
And once I completed that program, I too went out to Los Angeles. And a friend that I had made in undergrad was actually working at Saban at the time in their film department. And she called me up one day and said, listen, we're having auditions for this role for this kids television pilot that we're shooting. And I think you'd be great for it. Would you like to come down? And I said, yeah. And I thought it would be like any other audition in Los Angeles that, I'd go down there, there'd be 15,000 other guys and I would read my part and I would go home and I would never hear anything. But when I got down to the Saban building that afternoon, there was just me and another guy. And come to find out that they were at the tail end of filming the pilot and that they were going to shoot the Zordon character the following week. So they were planning on casting it that day. And that was very unusual as far as like an audition process, because if you've talked to any other actors or any of the other Rangers when they were on the show, they talk about going through a very elaborate process of getting
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very unusual. And luckily, I had the tone and the presence that they were looking for, and they cast me, and the rest is history. So.
Wow, I find all that very serendipitous.
Yeah.
Question 2. What have you been doing? What have you been doing since being on Power Rangers?
Well, I left Los Angeles shortly after the show went on the air. I did the voice for the character for the first 31 episodes, but then because the character was never filmed again, because I was never on set with any of the other actors, and I felt very disconnected from the show. I didn't feel like I was actually working on it because I would only get called in like every 6 weeks or so to do voices for episodes that they had already completed.
Oh.
And I was actually working with Tony Oliver about possibly writing some episodes, but that wasn't progressing, and I was working 2 jobs and trying not to get evicted from my apartment, and so it was very it was very stressful living out there. And so I left simply because I wanted to make sure that I maintained my mental and emotional stability.
Right, of course.
And I went back to the East Coast and continued to act and to do voiceovers. And luckily, I got hooked up with a video game company that I did quite a number of voices for their games, and learned how to do some writing for video games. And then I moved to just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and started to work for some video companies out there. So I worked in video games for about 10 or 12 years doing design and voice work, and then continued to hone my writing and stuff. And then ended up coming back to Texas for a while. So.
Oh wow, that's impressive. If you voiced any video games we might know?
A lot of the games I voiced were for PC. They weren't console games. So in the mid 90s, I did a lot of gold box Dungeons and Dragons games. I got to voice Dritz Do'Urden, the dark elf for Menzo Barons, and I got to do that. I did voices for Stone Prophet, which was a D&D game set in the desert, and you fought under a pyramid. And I did Anvil of Dawn. I did another really great a horror game called Sanitarium, which is out there, and
I actually heard about that one.
Yeah, I played the bad guy in that one. But I also did voices for a real-time strategy game called Empire Earth, and I did like 95%.
You know about that game.
So yeah. And then I got to do some writing, some quest work, and voices for the sequel to Dungeon Siege Legends of Arana.
Nice.
I might just blow it right now.
Okay.
Brian.
So me?
Yes. Your turn.
All right.
Yeah, here it is.
What was it? This one?
Yeah.
What is going on with the order? Well, that's them asking. I'm just reading.
The order is progressing. Karen has secured some of the financing that we need, and she's busy with her convention that she's helping with Ranger Stop right now. That's going on.
Ranger Stop,
Ranger Stop and Pop in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Correct. She's currently working on that, but once that gets wrapped up, she's going to go full on order mode. And I'll be seeing her next week, so I'll get more information. I know that she wants to wrap everything up this year.
Sorry about that. How do we turn it up? There we go.
There we go.
Hello.
But yeah, because like I think it was like Morphicon, we picked up a comic. Well, picked up the comic of the order. Now I was kind of curious: are there going to be any more order comics?
Yes, we have 3 volumes planned. So right now we're trying to nail down the artist for the second book, and once we get that taken care of, we'll get on track to get that out there. The story and the script for the comics have already been written, so we're just waiting to nail down the artist.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Me neither. Get that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got one. We got it posted right?
Yeah. Let me see what else.
This is personally for me. What is your favorite memory from meeting fans at Comic-Cons?
What is my favorite memory? Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, the fans are so great. They're always so awesome to talk to, and hearing their stories is always so humbling to know that something that I consider a very brief part of my life has reached out and touched so many other people and inspired them. So hearing stories about how it's influenced them and made them better for it, that's always great to hear. So, but as far as like a favorite memory, each one is is on top of the other one, so they're all great.
You basically mentored an entire generation, multiple generations at that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite memory from Comic-Con was actually last year. I took my wife and my newborn to New York Comic-Con. I was the one in the Green Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's 8 months now in daycare. He's every time I put on Power Rangers, he's sitting there pointing out to Zordon. I'm like,
yeah, New York Comic-Con was pretty wild, so it was a good time.
I think one of my best memories were seeing you and the actor who played Ivan Ooze together at Morphicon.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite memory from a con so far has to be from last year at Morphicon,
right.
when we did the live read for Shattered Grid. That was that was pretty amazing.
That was amazing.
wow.
Yeah, that was the first time that Barbara and I got to interact as Zordon and Rita in 25 years. So that was pretty wild.
I mean, I'm trying to get out to California for a Power Morphicon in 2020. So
it's pretty something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What was it like during your time on the show, Power Rangers?
It was very bittersweet. I mean, it was one of those things where after the audition, they would tell me, well, we're not sure if the show has been picked up yet, but we'll call you if it does.
Right.
And that's always something that you always hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I'll wait on the phone call. And luckily, three weeks later, I did get a call and said, congratulations, the show picked up, and I'm like, great. I'm on a television show. When you want to show up. And the bittersweet aspect was, well, we're not going to film your character anymore. We're just going to bring you into voices. And so while it was a great fun to be able to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff when we were recording voices, and I would only get to see episodes in snippets. I would only get to see the part that Zordon was a part of. And I remember going in when we were doing the Green with Evil cycle, and
Oh boy!
I understood from Tony that it was a 5-episode arc, and I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. It must be pretty detailed a story as far as like the Green Ranger. But then to find out that my character's in only 2 of those episodes, he's in the first one, and
That was,
Tommy shatters the connection, and so Zordon's not in it the entire time, and I'm like,
oh my goodness! Yeah, that was an ordeal. I remember that watching as it was airing. I was like, wait, what happened to Zordon? What's going on? Like, I don't like this.
What? No.
It was definitely a big deal when that happened, though.
Yeah, I mean, from an actor's standpoint, the character is very interesting because he doesn't have a body. He has no way to intervene in helping his Rangers out. He has no way to have any sort of hands-on activity. The only thing he can do is offer his encouragement and his belief in these kids who are dealing with all these issues. So I think that's very unique for the character. But at the time, I'm not really sure that they were. They understood, where they were going to take it.
Right.
Because there were never, as far as I know, there were never any plans to bring Zordon outside of the tube. There was never any plans to address any sort of issue like that. And because the character of Zordon is not part of the Sentai, he wasn't a character that was in the Japanese.
I said, well, they didn't wash it correctly because the water was black. My pants black.
I guess they were just content to keep him as sort of like an expository.
I just heard from now on,
just deliver a bunch of information, and that would be it.
It's going to be washed almost every other week.
Well, I guess since Zordon was in a tube most of the time, and then like when we were watching the show, we would see like a certain character from the series that Power Rangers was adapted from, and they used that Grand Wizard as, I guess, the human form of Zordon now. I think, what do you think would have been like if they got that exact costume from Japan, they dressed you in it? Would that have been something?
Well, I mean, that's sort of what I was hoping for. That at some point the character would grow and become more.
How pretty do you want it?
More of a character that they could interact with. But,
Right.
I'm not really sure what the decision was to make sure the character stayed in the tube or whatever. But
I'll talk to her mom and see what she says.
Okay.
No, there was she don't want to put it. She's just saying that shit.
Let's see. How do you feel about your character in the Boom Studios comics?
The character in the comics is amazing. They go into a lot of detail as far as backstory, and they make him look very buff and tight, and I think that's pretty awesome.
She's still straightening it though. It'll make it easier to work.
Yeah. Have you seen the Zordon of Eltar fan film on YouTube yet?
I was actually a part of that. I got to do voice for King Mondo in that.
Oh.
There's your
my God.
Okay.
Yes, if you go back and watch it, you can hear me.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna watch it. Okay.
Oh yeah, this one I wanted to do. I'm excited for this. Now, during our beginning, we would review the show Power Rangers Hyperforce, and your character was on the show, but voiced by the guys over at Hyper RPG. Now, if they ever get to do a season 2, which is what we're hoping for strongly, would you ever consider coming on as Zordon in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually in conversation with those guys before that episode aired, and the problem was that they had no real budget, and if if they had been able to fly me out there, I would have, been able to find a way to find some place to crash or whatever, and I could have been on the show. We had talked about possibly doing a voiceover recording or showing up some way, but for whatever reason, their technical capabilities didn't work out that way. But if they do a second season and they do want to explore something with the character, I'd be happy to be a part of it.
That would be so great.
Oh man, like here's hoping the season 2 of Hyperforce. Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the only thing we're hoping for. Like the second Power Rangers movie. Speaking about which, how do you feel like the Bryan Cranston portrayed as Zordon in the 2017, the new Power Rangers movie?
I'm gonna do that cute haircut.
When they first made the announcement that Mr. Cranston was going to play the part, I thought that's fantastic. They're going to treat the character with some seriousness and with weight, and they're going to treat it as something not as a joke. And I was also very excited because I thought, well, my chances of meeting him have now jumped up 50%. So that's pretty awesome. But I thought they did a really good job. I like the fact that Zordon was kind of a jerk at the beginning, because not intentionally being a jerk, but he was so focused on solving the problem.
That's true.
That it really kind of highlighted his human aspect of. And because he also learned and he also grew in the movie, and his sacrifice to help Billy come back from the grid, I think really speaks to how much the character is dedicated to making sure that the light remains.
Yeah. Speaking of sacrifices, what was your thought when you were told that Andros was going to shatter your tube at the end of Power Rangers in Space?
Well, I wasn't really there at the time, so I had to learn that in retrospect. Once Facebook came along and people started recognizing who I was and asking me if I was the actor that played Zordon, and I had to go back and find the episodes and figure out what happened to my character. And the first time I went to Power Morphicon in 2014, one of the first people I met was Christopher Kamen Lee. Because we took part in the No Hate photo shoot. And,
I love No Hate.
And so I was standing behind Chris in line to get our photo shoot, and I said,
"No,
thanks for killing me." And that has started a great friendship between Chris and I, because every time we see each other, hey, thanks for killing me. So yeah.
I mean, that's a great story, and I mean, I could talk forever about like the good that No Hate has brought to just like not just the Ranger community, but just like the world in general.
Yeah. I was very humbled when they asked me to be a part of that, and to see the composite shot that they've done of all the Rangers that have done part of the campaign, and then my face being above them, sort of like as a Zordon character, was really cool.
Oh man.
But
I mean,
don't judge me.
I mean, I'm raising my 8-month-old to for Power Rangers and everything else. Like as you can tell from Comic-Con, at 2 months old,
his name is Andros.
Yeah. My wife said I could name him anything I want as long as it wasn't a junior, and that's the first name that popped in my head.
This thing that that killed off Zordon. That's amazing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh man, but me personally, Zordon will always be the mentor to the Power Rangers.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I guess I was thinking about this earlier, like because during the time of Power Rangers airing, there was this Arthurian-like show called Mystic Knights of Tirnanog that was also done by Saban. And I was thinking to myself, what if they would you have gone on to be like a wizard character on that show, or like if not a hero, but like would you have been able to do like a villain character for that show?
I would have loved to. I was never approached about doing anything like that, and I'm not sure if I had already left LA at that point, or, but I would have loved to have been given the chance to audition for other shows that they had done. the show with Brad Hawkins, VR Troopers, was also really good.
Yeah,
it would have been fun to have been part of, but you know, it is what it is.
Also, there was Big Bad Beetleborgs, Masked Rider.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a chance to come back to Power Rangers, would you try to be like? Would you come back as a hero, or would you want to come back as like a villain,
or like, when he means hero, like, or would you come back as like a special ranger?
I would, yeah. I mean, I would love to be, you know, asked to be given a chance to come back. I mean, but I mean, it really all depends on what the showrunners and the writers and the producers are doing with the shows. I know in Beast Morphers they mentioned Zordon and the grid, and so I mean it's there's always going to be the history of the character. Personally, I don't think Zordon is dead. Andros shattering the tube may have disrupted his connection to this dimension, but I'm not really sure if it destroyed him physically. But I mean that's all up to the showrunners and the writers about what's canon and what isn't canon. Personally, I'm hoping that they do like an animated version of Shattered Grid.
Me too.
I'll be honest with you. Everybody wants that.
That would give everybody a chance to come back and voice their character again, and I think that would be something that the fans would really, really like. So
I'm hoping with Shattered Grid, I'm hoping they make it into like a movie
or like a web series.
Yeah,
like just having you animate Zordon would just, I think it would blow everybody. Like a lot of Ranger fans would just be like, "Oh my God, he's coming back as Zordon." It's gonna be. They don't even care if Shattered Grid's getting animated. They're gonna care about Zordon coming back.
Right.
Like I actually have a Shattered Grid comic. I think is with Ranger Slayer and everything else.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's your comic.
Stop it, Lauren. I'm right here.
Yeah, with Power Rangers. There's so many Power Rangers stuff I can't even find the words. You got any questions, right?
Ooh. Well, no, I think you asked some of the questions.
Oh, wait.
What's up?
Because I remember at WolfCon, I was talking to Jason when he was still at Hasbro, saying like, oh, what if there was more types of different merchandise? So then Mike was telling me how you guys would want more Zordon merchandise.
Now, what we need is Zordon quotes on a T-shirt. That's what we need.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we had like a Zordon Funko or an action figure of some sort. That would be awesome.
Because I know in the Team Zordon page that me, you, and Deshaun and my wife run, there was someone that's actually trying to petition. Sorry.
Yeah.
Funko Pop to actually make a Zordon Funko.
Well, actually, I know a guy that can make one. Like,
I've actually seen fans who have created a couple of versions, and I was gifted one. So I know it's possible, but it just depends on whether or not Hasbro wants to promote the character or not.
I'm pretty sure down the line Hasbro is gonna want to do that because that would be silly not to.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially with like play school sets, they can have just like a big command center, and Zordon's just like the big centerpiece with all the little mini figures.
Like I try looking for.
I'm pretty sure he'd get it for his son.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Get it for his son. I have a few nieces and nephews that would love to have that.
Yeah.
And I think there was one back in the 90s.
The Power Dome.
The Power Dome in the 90s, yeah, and then they'd had the Imaginext Power.
Yeah, that's it. They know more than I do. And then, yeah.
Well,
I guess one quick. Like Zordon cosplayers, what is your take on the Zordon cosplayers?
The first one I saw was in 2014 out of Power Morphicon, and that gentleman had his face as the character, and he had like all the Rangers in a board in front of him, and another cosplayer was Alpha 5 standing next to him, and that was amazing because I actually got to put it on and be the character and use the voice inside the tube, so that was very cool. And I've seen a couple of other ones that have been very creative as well. It's kind of hard to do just a floating head, but
yeah,
they make it work.
Cosplaying in general is very difficult.
Yeah, like my Green Ranger suit. Oh boy,
cosplaying is just very difficult.
Yeah,
like I still have the ringtones.
Yeah,
personalized ringtones.
Ringtones never leave you.
You know,
stick with you forever. You got any other questions, Mike?
No, Ryan.
Any other questions? No, I'm just supposed like the only thing I would say I'm excited for is like probably you're excited for is seeing like some sort of action roles maybe you would like to do. That's what the order is for. So hopefully we get to see that anytime soon. Let's see what else.
Oh well, me, I'm trying to audition for Power Rangers again.
Awesome.
The guiding advice.
Make sure that you're physically able to do it, either doing martial arts or
I have also
gymnastics of some sort. Make sure you're mentally prepared and don't take a rejection as a negative. I mean, use it as something to say, okay, well, now I just need to work a little bit harder and just keep pushing forward. So that's the thing.
Thank you.
That's very all helpful. Don't worry, I'm gonna be training him over the summer.
Awesome.
Fit.
Yeah.
He's not gonna survive. And yeah, along with the order, what else do you have coming down the pipeline in the future?
Well, my book comes out this year, and I'm very excited about that.
Read for me.
Yeah.
It's a paranormal urban fantasy novel about ghosts and other creatures, and a young man who's trying to battle that. And I'm also very excited about Endgame that comes out next week. So
Marvel fan, yeah.
That that long journey leading up to that final confrontation is going to be a lot of fun. But other than that, just working and working.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot wait for Endgame as well. Yeah. I took my wife to see Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She didn't understand it.
Right.
But all in all, she enjoyed it.
And before we end up, hope to see you at many other conventions.
Oh yeah.
And we hope to see you back at New York Comic Con this year.
If they invite us back, I would love to come back.
Oh man, that would be great to have a. Yeah. I guess one last question: would you be down if Power Rangers had a panel at like New York Comic Con? It's like a big anniversary panel with Mighty Morphin.
Oh yeah, I mean, we did something like that for LA Comic Con last year. We did a panel in LA, and that was really a really good one. So if we got to do something like that at New York, that would be fantastic.
Awesome.
All the New York. I think everybody from all over the world just come by for that.
Yeah.
I'm salivating over that thought.
Same here.
I think that's it. Thank you, David, for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For all the advice, and just thank you for being you over 20 some odd years.
Yeah, working on some new stuff that we're looking forward to.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
Oh man, I can't wait for more of the order.
Same here.
Me neither. I mean, we've been working on it for 2 years.
I'm like, give us more.
We're trying.
Oh man, so guys, be on the lookout for the order. Be on the lookout for David's book when it comes out. And
what's the title of the book?
The title of the book is Glimpse.
Glimpse. Be on the lookout for Glimpse.
Yep.
If you guys are at a convention he's at, go say hello. Tell him Henshin Gate sent you.
Yeah.
And yeah, guys, we'll see you guys in a few days.
Alrighty.
Catch you guys later. Peace.
And may the power protect you.
May the power protect you.
You know that?